Welcome to Mesh Simplify for Unity. Mesh Simplify is a powerful Unity extension that allows you to quickly lower the polygon count of your 3D models. It supports both static and skinned meshes, as well as complex object hierarchies and multiple materials. Simplifying 3D models is especially useful when importing high-resolution meshes or developing for less capable platforms like mobile phones, where low polygon count is key. Mesh Simplify gives you fine control over the polygon reduction process. Let's see how it works. First, we select the object we want to simplify. If we have a whole hierarchy, we select the root. Now we add a Mesh Simplify component. Once the component has been added, we get access to the object's Mesh Simplify panel. This panel is where we can change the mesh simplification parameters and also start the simplification process itself. Let's go over the parameters. The recurse into children parameter needs to be checked when processing a full object hierarchy. This will simplify all meshes in child nodes as well. The enable prefab usage parameter will save the simplified mesh to disk. By doing so, the object can be used to create a prefab. Otherwise, if the mesh is not saved to disk, instances of the prefab will reference empty meshes. The next four parameters give finer control over the simplification process. By activating Use Edge Length, the simplification algorithm will try to discard shorter edges first. Use Curvature will give edges with sharper angles between adjacent triangles more relevance. Edges with smooth angles between triangles will be discarded earlier. Protect Texture will try to keep mapping integrity during the process of mesh simplification. Keep Borders will try to keep edges of an object border from being simplified. The next slider will control how many vertices from the original mesh we want to keep. Selecting smaller values will result in meshes with less detail, but faster to render. It is important to select the value that gives you the best trade-off between detail and rendering performance. Now that we've set all parameters, let's press the Compute Mesh button. Depending on the mesh complexity, this may take a while. And this is our simplified mesh. Notice we haven't lost much graphics detail, but yet the mesh preserves only 10% of the source vertices. Now it is definitely more suited for real-time rendering. Sometimes finer control is needed when decreasing mesh complexity. Groups of vertices may need to be kept in place in certain areas where detail is key, while some others could be discarded earlier in the process. We provide support for this through the Vertex Relevance Modifiers section. Let's see an example. Here, we see a model loses too much detail in the waist area in lower complexity meshes. We want to tell the tool to keep detail in this area and lose it somewhere else. Vertex relevance modifiers are spheres that allow you to change the priority of all vertices that lie inside. Let's add a sphere that will select the waist vertices. We will increase their relevance value so the mesh simplification will try to lose detail in other less significant parts. Default relevance is 0. Positive values will try to keep the selected vertices over the rest, while negative values will make those vertices lose detail earlier. Once the sphere is set up, we need to recompute all LOD meshes. Here, we can see the result. Now we have the exact same amount of vertices than before, but with improved detail distribution. In object hierarchies, we see child nodes have a different Mesh Simplify panel. Since the root object controls all parameters, it doesn't give us any control by default. Sometimes we want to apply different simplification settings to a child object. We can do this by checking the Override Settings parameter. This opens a new panel where now the child object can also be configured. This helps the fine-tuning of complex object trees where some nodes may need more detail, whereas other nodes could support a more aggressive vertex reduction. Mesh Simplify by Ultimate Game Tools. Mesh optimization made easy. Get it now at the Unity Asset Store.